Coach Javier Mendez says that Jon Jones was not scared of Tom Aspinall. He doesn't buy it. And I'm with him. Did any of us buy it? And it was an easy thing to say. And it's prodding like you would do on the playground in the 3rd and 4th grade. So you might have caught yourself saying it. You might have even posted it on social media. But saying it as a selfish way of getting what you want, which is Jon fight Tom Aspinall. Do you mean it? Do you believe it? I'm not whole as a fan. I'm not whole with how I should be interpreting the actions of Jon Jones. I'm just not there. Because Coach Mendez is clearly right. Jon's not scared. He didn't not fight Tom because he was scared of Tom. Okay. Well, then why didn't he fight him? What are the other options? If he's not scared of him, if he's not scared that he would lose to him, why didn't he fight him? Well, let's throw some things at the board. How about money? Now, Jon did want different money, but that conversation took place and Jon was going to get different money. And one thing that nobody's ever been able to get around, and it doesn't matter if it's the promoter, the fighter, the promoter, when a fighter is paid an amount of money to do a fight, absent of a loss, you will never get that fighter to take less. And that's a tricky position because all fights aren't the same. Fighter runs into, well, let's just use Jon Jones. He runs into Daniel Cormier. That is a massive fight. But now let's take Jon Jones and let's put him in there with Thiago Santos or with Dominic Reyes. And I get coming out the back door how wonderful those fights were. I'm talking about just going into it. The anticipation isn't there. Anticipation is what drives the money in this business. Nothing else. Not a wow moment. Not a knockout. Not something special. Not an incredible storyline or even a call out. You have to be looking forward to it ahead of time so that you bought that ticket or you push that button. So when Jon has a fight full of anticipation like Daniel Cormier, and he then goes into a fight, for example, with anybody else, there's going to be a let-off, but Jon is going to need the same amount of money that he got for Daniel. He's not going to understand it. How can I possibly be doing the same job? I can tell you fighters that you really respect and you really admire, world champions who have retired, because they couldn't wrap their head around, this is what I used to get paid for this. I'm going to go and do the same thing. And the promotion going, yeah, but you're not going to do it in a main event and it's not going to be for a title. Therefore, your rewards aren't the same. Like it's one of these conversations where they just keep talking past one another. But Jon Jones was able to get that worked out with Tom. Now, the reason I bring that to you, whatever that number is, and we're going to call it $10 million. You want the exact number? It's $12 million. We're going to call it $10 million. If Jon works out that for his next fight, he's going to get $10 million, Jon then decides to come back. He's got a great idea for himself, and he's going to jump in there, and we'll say with Derek Lewis. Jon's going to want the $10 million, and the UFC is going to have to explain, we're not even interested in doing that fight, let alone if we did get it put together, the $10 million. And Jon goes, but you already told me my next fight was $10 million. Go, yeah, but it was Aspinall, and it was the undisputed champion versus the interim champion. You have neither of those things. Jon's going, but wait a minute, I'm going to go and do the exact same job for the same amount of time in the same venue at the same weight class. You told me $10 million. Now, I get how you think they can work around and things are completely different. I'm just sharing with you, like, it starts to get pretty tough. And for that reason, as well as many others, Jon will not be coming back against anybody unless it's Tom Aspinall. Now that's a tough one too. If he's going to fight Tom Aspinall, would you like to fight him at 37 when you've been sitting on your hands for a year? Or would you like to fight him at 38 when you've been sitting on your hands for 2 years? Like if it's the same guy for the same money and the same prize, which is the undisputed championship, why would time get better? And I know there's a nostalgia around that, but I also know you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're saying one thing because you want it to be true, but if I asked you how much money you're going to bet on Kayla Harrison, or I apologize, on Amanda Nunes to beat Kayla Harrison, all of a sudden you're going to realize how important time and not doing something is. And that yesterday's stars just aren't as good as today's stars, even though we want it to be. We want Wilt Chamberlain. We want Michael Jordan. We want them so badly to be better than LeBron. They're just not. So, if Jon's not scared, and we believe that, and it wasn't about money, and we do have the information that Jon was made whole with the money. 12 million press participation was fair to him. He had agreed to this. Then how do we interpret the refusal of doing it? There was no other information that we were given. We were told, and I don't even think Jon was sincere about this, but he said, so let's just count it. He said, from the day he signs the bout agreement, he must have, from that moment, 180 days. Well, he would have had it. He would have fought Tom at the Garden in November. That was always the plan. So now, even the silly stuff, right? And Dana loves to be very polite and talk about the crazy stuff he has to put up with and go, well, these are artists and these are, they're geniuses and they think of ways. That's a really nice thing for Dana to say. It's not true. You've got dumbasses under contract. You have dishonest, untrustworthy people that you got to make a deal with. People that you've already made in writing deals with want to change the deal. Oh, and newsflash, never to help you, ever. What a coincidence. What a strange coincidence. After 30 years in this business, everybody that wants to re-talk about their deal never once has said because it's too stacked against you. All right. So we'll just call them artists. We'll call them artists instead of calling them scumbags. Then he re-enters the pool. Now, when he re-enters the pool, that is, from a legal standpoint, unretiring. I realize that Jon has never used that word, and I realize that many of you debate on that. Well, he's retired, he's unretired. Just so you know, that is a legal term. And a retired fighter, the first thing that will happen is they will be removed from the pool. So following the laws of logic, you go back in the pool, you are now unretired. So we have an unretired Jon Jones who is not looking for a fight. That is unusual. How do we interpret it? Is Jon done? Should we be trying to find him a fight? If he's unretired, he falls into the same boilerplate contract that everybody else has, which means he must be offered 3 fights a year. He doesn't have to do them. He must be offered them. So what fight are they going to offer Jon? And it brings you right back to square one, which is Tom. There's nothing else for Jon to do except Tom. What if Tom gets beat? I don't believe in a scenario where Jon Jones returns to a world title fight opposite Surreal. A fight, if you choose to call it that already happened. I don't believe that. Doesn't mean it's not so. There's a lot of things out there that I don't think would happen that happen. But how do we interpret it? Will Jon be looking for that fight? If Surreal is to beat Tom, does Jon even come out and call him out? Is that an interest to Jon at all? And it's hard to know. It's hard to know what he's looking for. It's hard to know what makes him tick. how we interpret the retirement and subsequent re-entry to the pool. And that's how we're supposed to word it. We are not supposed to word it the retirement and then the unretirement. We're supposed to word it the retirement and subsequent re-entry to the pool. That is the official verbiage. But if the whole thing doesn't boil down to a fear of Tom and it's not about the money, what does it all mean? What exactly did happen there? Years from now, if I'm attempting to retell the story to somebody, what should I tell them?